Hey, morning, gentle folks. It's a very beautiful day. Let me take a seat here. So, I want to share something that was discussed on the prayer line this morning. So, the text that was discussed is St. Luke chapter 2, that deals with the incident where Jesus and his parents went to Jerusalem to the feast, and when they were heading back home, they realized that Jesus was not among the traveling party, and they started to search for him, and they had to turn back to Jerusalem. And then after 3 days, they found him in the temple, and his mother said, "Hey, why did you do this?" And Jesus said, "Why were you searching for me? Don't you know I should be about my Father's business?" So a few things came out from the text to me this morning that I think we'd like to look at. So the first thing is that the text says Jesus remained at Jerusalem, which gives you some amount of intentionality. So it's not a case, it's not a Home Alone case where, Kevin was mistaken and left home by his parents. This would seem to indicate that even at 12 years old, Jesus had a mission, and so he purposely stayed back. It says that he remained at Jerusalem. But then the first thing that troubled me is the fact that it took them an entire day to realize that he was not among them. I don't know if maybe an issue with the number of persons that were traveling, we don't know, but it took them one entire day. And the next thing is that after that, they checked the caravan, checked everything, and they didn't see him. They decided to search, and it took them 3 days to find him. But the part that really amused me is that they found him in the temple, and he said to them, you see, if you look in the King James Version says, "I should be about my Father's business." But when you look at the original manuscript, it says, "I should be in my Father's house." He said, "Don't you know I should be in my Father's house?" Which tells me that they should have known where to look first. Because he said, "Hey, this is where I should have been." So I guess persons have certain proclivities that if somebody that goes missing, and for somebody to say, "Hey, I haven't seen Mr. Brown in a long while," close family members or friends would say, "Hey, did you check over John? Did you check over Miss Cherry?" So there are certain places that they know you would frequent. If nobody can find me, for an extended period of time, and somebody should maybe ask my wife, say, "Hey, we can't find Anif." There are a few things that she would say, "Hey, did you check his workplace? Maybe him gone to the range." Or, somewhere that they know that the things I like would speak more to where I might be. And so there must have been things in Jesus' life that would point them to say, "Hey, let's check the temple first." It tells me that sometimes we know where to look for the answers, but we try to circle around and beat around and skip and dance and do everything except going to the source where the solution is. Sometimes we slack up in God, and it don't mean that we're walking in sin, but the fire is not burning as brightly as it was burning last month or a few months ago or last year. And we recognize that there's a disconnect, and we say, "Boy, I'm not where I should be with God," and we know where to go for the solution. We know what to do, The fact that Mary and Joseph and whoever it is that Jesus said to them, "You should know where I was," it means that if they were thinking, it would not have taken them 3 days to find him, because they should have checked the temple first. They checked the temple last. It took them 3 days before they said, "Hey, let's check the temple." And that says serious things to me about the state of their mind. And I think they are a picture to us of what we are now. Sometimes things are happening in our lives, and we do everything before we check the church, before we check God, before we check, the things of God, certain disciplines that we should do to bring us back in connection and relationship with God. We try to do everything else Jesus said, you should have known where I was. Jesus said, hey, you should have known that I was in the temple. And the people took 3 days before they checked the temple. Could it be that when we get ourselves in certain situations sometimes, we realize that, boy, God is not really moving with us as how he should be moving with us. And we are at fault. And when we should run to a place where the solution is, we try call a friend, we try do everything else instead of going to where the direct source is, where the answer is. The answer was in the temple. Jesus was in the temple. He didn't leave the temple. At his very age, 12, he had a mission and he knew where to go. And the people who were supposed to find him did not go where they knew they should have gone. Because Jesus is not lying. Jesus said, you know where I was. You should have known where I was. And it sounds like I'm laboring the point and just rambling. But that part spoke to me so much that he said, you know where to find me. And they took 3 days before they checked the temple. I can imagine they checked everywhere. They checked where the food was. They checked where we last left him. They checked there. They checked whatever. And did not check where they said, based on his reasoning, based on his mindset, this is where he is. Let us be intentional to go to the place of God to find solution. That's where the answer is. Let's check the temple first, because that's where God is. God bless you. In Jesus' name, one love.